Hello, I'm Jing Xiang from 203, and today I'll explain about how to make a model tree out of tissue paper. Well, first of all, you need this PVA white glue, some water, brush, and a container. So basically, you just pour the glue in, mix it with water, and make it not too watery, but at the same time not so saturated. Something like this, something like a creamy look. Okay, and then tissue paper. Maybe a few tissue paper, and you soak it into the water to glue. Make sure that the whole tissue paper is wet. And once it's wet, put the toothpick in, and you just mold the tissue paper onto the toothpick and squeeze out the excess. Then you have something like this, a texture that's not too moist and at the same time still moldable. So you can still mold the tissue paper into a tree shape. And there you have it, a tree. Yeah. Then you just take it onto a styrofoam. Then you take this out to dry, and once it's dry, you have all sorts of trees that's already hard, and once it's hard, you can paint them into green. Then you have a whole bunch of it. Okay, so when making this model, we need to print out an A1 size of the site. We need a map first, then we follow the contours as you can see over here. So we just cut them out, cut each contours out accordingly, so we have segments of the contours. Then we use a cardboard. We trace the contours by placing the map onto the cardboard, and we draw the contours on it. After which, we will cut the contours out, and we will just stack it one by one. So this is the first one. Yeah, a bit noisy. Okay, so right after that, we will just paste the layer on top. Like, let's say this is the contour that we've cut out, so we will just place it onto another layer. So it's layer after layer after layer of contours, as you can see from here. It's after a layer and another layer and another layer and another layer. As you can see, it fits nicely to this one over here. So the cardboard is this size. We draw the contours, then we use only this part. This part we discard. As you can see, it's an exact match, an exact replica of the contour. Yeah. So once we've stacked everything up and glued them all together, we will put some tissue paper onto the cardboards. We will glue them, and then once we will cover everything in tissue paper, so it will give something like this, a texture, this very tissue paper texture that looks a lot like grass and a lot like soil, like earth. So as you can see, it's still white some part. Yeah, and basically that's all. And then for the trees, For the trees, we just punch in a hole and place a tree in. And there you have it. Trees. This is my first model, and basically everything here is more or less recycled. And as you can see, these are some stones from the concrete sites. They are cements. This one is also cement, and everything here is more or less stuff that you can find in a rubbish bin. Yeah, paper, cardboards, and toothpicks, and chopsticks. Used chopsticks. And as for the grass, something interesting about this grass is that it's actually from a plant. This plant is called asparagus, and the leaf of this asparagus is like a pine needle, very small, very fine. So it gives you the feeling of grass. So what I do is that I would take the leaf, and then I would, I would treat it like a broom, and I'll just smack it on the floor or on a container. Then all of these small little needles will fall off. Then I would collect them. I would put them into a separate container. Then for this one, it's the same method as making these controls, this model here. I will have the first layer of paper, followed by another layer, followed by another layer, and another layer. After which I would put some glue onto it. I would dab glue onto this model, and then I would sprinkle the dried leaves onto this model using the brush to tap on it. Then once it's dried, it will be stick onto this paper, and after which I will paint them in green, shades of green, brown, and dark green. So it gives you a more, it has some gradient. Yeah, it doesn't look dull. Basically, that's all. As you can see, it's quite nice. The effect of the grass, of this leaf, is quite nice. It really gives you that feeling of grass. Well, using recycled materials are very economic. Yeah, it's cheap, it's environmentally friendly, and well, it's very easy to use as well. Instead of those fancy stuff like wood or plywood, styrofoam, okay, you use cardboards, where you can use the most simplest material, most flexible, and easy to handle. So a simple scissor, a simple penknife will do everything. You don't need to buy any sophisticated machinery. You don't have to spend hundreds over just to buy very good material. Like what we do in this field of landscape architecture, we make everything sustainable and everything environmentally friendly. So our model should show that as well. So hope everybody enjoyed the video. Thanks a lot.